Hey, good morning, Choice Residential. Hope your day's off to a great start today. So I want to talk about earnest money deposits and how it relates to the due diligence period and some of the crazy offers that we're seeing right now. And what I really want to drive home is that we've seen some offers come in that have large due diligence fees, but then no earnest money deposit going along with it. And if the seller is okay with that, that's fine. But we want to make sure the seller is crystal clear that there is now no incentive for the buyer, if they're going to terminate the contract, to do it before the end of the due diligence period. Because remember, the earnest money is meant to provide a benefit for the seller if the buyer were to terminate after the due diligence period ends. But if there is no earnest money in the contract, then the due diligence period or the due diligence date really doesn't mean a whole lot. So you just want to make sure the seller is very clear that if they're accepting an offer that only has due diligence or maybe has a very small earnest money deposit, then the money they're getting in that due diligence fee is essentially giving the buyer not only the due diligence period, but really also the period from the due diligence date to the closing date for free, right? There's no additional penalty if the buyer were to terminate after the due diligence period. And that there's, of course, the 14-day buffer that a buyer could tack on to the end of that. So you just want to make sure the seller is very clear up front. Hey, this amount of money you're accepting as the due diligence fee needs to be enough that if it takes you all the way through closing and then 14 days beyond that, and you have to put the house back on the market, you are okay that you received that amount of money that is a due diligence fee. So just bear that in mind, not only with your buyers and how you're structuring the offers, but particularly when you're a listing agent and you receive an offer that does not have earnest money or that has a very small amount of earnest money. Because now that things have gotten flip-flopped, where it used to be due diligence fees were smaller than earnest money, now we're seeing that flip-flopped. You just want to make sure that you, and especially the seller, understand the consequence of what that means, and that it does at least afford the buyer the right to move beyond that due diligence period without any further damage or penalty should they terminate later. If you guys have any questions about that or other thoughts on the strategies around due diligence fees and earnest money, put them in the comments below. Everybody would love to hear about it. Otherwise, until next time, talk to you soon.